Okay, we're going to go ahead and let Coach start off with a opening statement, and then we'll open it up for questions for those Illinois media here in attendance. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, not the night that I envisioned. You know, as we came up to Camp Randall, thought I had the team more ready, more prepared to play than what we showed out there tonight. We will play better than that. We're a better football team than that. Everything that seemed like that we had seen didn't say that, but that's what happened. You have to give Wisconsin a lot of credit. They made the plays when they needed to. Their quarterback played outstanding ball, but we have to get him a little bit of, a lot more, competition on some of, the, the touchdown passes on the defensive side of the football. And offensively, we've got to be able to run the football better than that. I'll take your question.
We'll go ahead and open up for Shannon Ryan first.
Yeah. Lovie, aside from the game, just what was it like to play in an atmosphere as unusual as this one tonight?
Well, it was unusual, Shannon, but after you get down pretty quick, you forget about the fans and you start concentrating on what's happening on the football field. I think it always comes down to that. It helps when you have a lot of fans in the stands, but eventually there's two teams on the field playing, and again, so it didn't affect us that much, just wish we had played better.
Scott Ritchie, you're next. Jeremy Werner on deck.
Coach, you mentioned before the game, just you prepare for a system, maybe not a quarterback. Did Wisconsin do anything differently with Graham Mertz that maybe you weren't expecting?
No, they really didn't. He completed the passes. A lot of those routes we had one or two guys going out. We have to be able to play better coverage than that. But Wisconsin stayed true to their system. They've been doing it for a lot of years. They're not going to change that. They just executed the system tonight a lot better than we did.
Gavin Good, Jeremy, you're up, and then Gavin Good's on deck.
Lovie, I know your team was confident. What didn't translate, and how do you get them to regroup going into next week?
Well, it only counts one loss. I mean, it's kind of simple as that. And when you play as bad as we did, you expect to lose. So what we saw, we didn't see that. We had, the 14-7 game or so, or, after Tariq's interception or fumble recovery for a touchdown. He had opportunities. It's kind of crunch time a little bit there. And, next week and going forward, got to be able to step up when it gets to situations like that. Defensively losing Jake, of course, not having Milo out there. We weren't at our best, but hopefully this week we'll get a lot of those guys back and we can play better ball.
And what was the impact of not having Isaiah Gay and Devin Witherspoon on your defense?
I mean, those are both, guys that have helped us win a lot of games. They're good football players. So, we miss them. And again, you hate to even talk about guys that were missing when you play that way. But it was obvious we had some guys missing. I'm sure they did too. With the guys that we had here tonight, we just got to be able to play better than that.
Thanks, so.
Welcome.
Okay, Gavin, you're up. Joey Wagner on deck.
It was a tough night for Brandon Peters throwing the ball. I think he was 8 of 19. He did have some success running the ball, but what did you see go wrong out there for him?
Well, we didn't. I mean, it just never got into rhythm with our passing game. I mean, the running game can help that an awful lot, but I thought we had some moments where there were, as we go forward, we got to be able to complete more passes than that. Simple as that. I mean, Josh Bebe is a heck of a receiver. We've got to be able to get the ball to our tight ends more. Brandon will be the first guy to tell you that, he'd like to have some throws back. I thought he ran the ball well, but weren't in sync tonight for whatever reason.
It seemed like, a few times the offensive line kind of struggled to give him much time back there. What did you just think of the way they played?
Yeah, when I say we struggle, it starts up front. We talk a lot about our offensive line. We're one of the best offensive lines in the conference coming back, but we didn't play that way tonight, like our football team didn't. And, as head football coach, we'll get these things fixed. We're better than that. O-line, quarterback, wideouts, running back, entire defense, coaches, we're a lot better than that.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, Joey Wagner, you're up. Gabby, you're on deck.
Hey, Lovie, you mentioned it was 14-7 after Tariq's touchdown, but those 3:22 to close the half, they scored two pretty quickly. What happened defensively from your vantage point in those two possessions?
They started scoring so many times, I can't remember everything that happened doing it. I just know that the touchdowns that we gave up, the touchdown passes that we gave up, it busted coverages. I mean, it's pretty easy to score when you have busted coverages back there. Got to have more discipline than that. And offensively, when you're doing some things like that, one side has to kind of come to the rescue a little bit to help out their teammate when you're having trouble. But tonight seemed like, all three phases were kind of in that same position.
Tariq, though, coming in for Jake, you had that, and you had a couple other big plays. What would you make of his performance there in those three quarters?
Well, I think we have to acknowledge Tariq coming in. That's a tough situation. Jake Hansen is captain, one of our best players. When you're back up, you don't get as many reps, but you have to be ready mentally. And for him to come in, and I think he had a sack. Of course, he had a, takeaway with a touchdown. Your first action, you have to acknowledge that. So it was good to see him do it. And we needed him to at the time. We talk a lot about taking the ball away. We need a lot more of those.
Thanks, Lovie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Gabby, and then Bob Osmussen, you're on deck. Matt Stevens in the hole. Go ahead, Gabby.
Lovie, Isaiah Williams obviously got some good playing time tonight, and he came out pretty early. What went into that decision to put him out pretty early tonight?
To put him out earlier? Well, the plan, Isaiah's done some good things in practice. And, the first game, you kind of want to see what you have. Going in, we had a package designed just for him. So the plan was for him to play. No matter how the game was going, the plan was for him, to get a few reps in that package. He when nothing's going right, it's just kind of tough duty when you come in like that. But first bit of action for him, that's a start.
Yeah, and then Roderick Perry obviously got pressure on the offense pretty early. What did you see from him in his first Illinois game?
I thought he did some good things. I think throughout, I thought he played solid football. Can't wait to see the video, but he had a couple, big plays where everybody noticed it. But he's been like that since he's gotten on campus. He's a good football player, and a lot more of the guys will need them to step up the way Rod did.
Thanks, Lovie.
Okay, Bob Osmussen, you're up. Matt Stevens on deck.
Coach, you've done this a long time. After a game like this, what have you learned is the best way to go about going forward?
Oh, it's only one thing to do, Bob, when you have a game like this. They creep up on you. And you just go back to work. We have an extra day. We'll need that extra day. But we're going to evaluate. You have to get to the first game of the season to see exactly where you are. And my experience has told me that normally, that's when the biggest improvement happens after that first game. Now we can really judge, our guys based on game action. And so we'll put a better group together next week, a better game plan together next week based on this.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, Matt Stevens, and then Scott Ritchie.
Lovie, does the breakdown in coverage and the blown coverages tonight shock you and maybe upset you the most tonight? I can't imagine that was something you had seen as a bad habit throughout this month of training camp.
It's a surprise, I'll say that. No, we haven't seen that. The situations we're in, we have certain coverages that are strong on certain things. What we're in tonight in these situations, those things can't happen, should not happen. And we'll work to make sure that they don't happen again.
That's all I had. Thanks, Polly.
Okay, Scott Ritchie.
Coach, what's the maybe level of concern for Jake Hansen? It looked kind of scary as he was kind of stumbling there a little bit.
Yeah, you can take some big hits, and at the moment there when you can, it can look pretty bad. But I know Jake is, fine right now. He's alert. So those things can happen in a game. We kept him out, of course, the rest of the football game, and he's not a guy that's had a whole lot of concussions. But so we'll kind of see how it goes this week. Again, a player's health is at the forefront of everything that we do. So he won't be coming back out there, of course, until he's good to go health-wise.
Just one last thing. You went for it on 4th down 3 times and didn't get any of them. Just what was maybe a concern, seeing those lack of conversions there?
I was disappointing. When a team jumps out 14-0 like that, we needed to score some touchdowns, and thought they were manageable 4th downs. We were just off a little. That's how we were most of the other night. We were just off, just a little bit, just enough to, to get beat. But I mean, we want to be aggressive, of course, in situations where we thought it was favorable, and we'll need to convert some of those 4th downs going forward.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have a couple of players here in just a moment, so stand by for that.